Welcome to episode 189 of the weekly Shared Security Show. And joining me is the incredible co-host, Kevin Johnson. Welcome.
Good luck with that intro.
And I was gonna introduce the great and powerful Mr. Scott Wright, but he's having some audio problems, but he is there and he's here in spirit. So hello, Scott. And we also have a very special guest, and I have an intro for this very special guest.
The White Rabbits, Rafal Los.
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Rafal Los.
That's Todd. That's Todd doing my intro in the podcast.
Nice. Yeah. So welcome to the show, Raph.
Hey, thanks for having me.
This is great. You were on the show actually. I think it was like in January. We were talking about getting started in InfoSec, but this is like the first time I think you've been on like with Kevin and with Scott. This is
I think so.
I think it's a first. Kevin and I haven't actually chatted. It's got to be like
in years.
A while.
It's got to be a couple years.
It's got to be a couple years. Yeah.
Do you remember the Mermaid Sushi place?
Yes,
I do.
Yes. You know who I saw? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get this off the rails right off the beginning. So you know who I hung out with in Vegas over Black Hat for her birthday, Daria and Mark.
Oh, really?
Oh, no way. That's awesome.
Exactly the reaction. I was like, oh no way, yes, yeah. So we did the Frankie's Tiki, and then we did some.
Well, that's cool.
Some other place, and it was a lot of fun, and
nice.
I do recognize that we're all getting old, dude.
We're all getting old. Yeah, we'd rather not talk about how old we're getting. We were just discussing my kids in college, moved out into our own apartment.
Yeah. And I think, going back to like when we all first met, I think it was, OWASP AppSec DC.
It was.
No, it was not.
Was it before that?
We met before
InfoSec World. It was InfoSec World.
Yeah. Because I was still in Guardians when we all met.
Yep.
And AppSec DC in 2010, and I just saw pictures of it. Thank you, Tom. We were just looking at the animated GIF of me getting shot between the eyes by the rocket.
Oh, God.
You remember that was the conference where Josh Feinblum, who's not even in security anymore, he reached out to me and said, hey, do you know anybody who'd want to sponsor a conference? And I said, sure, me. And he's like, no, like a company. And I'm like, yeah, I have a company now. He's like, when that happened? I'm like, last month. And so we sponsored AppSec DC, and I get an email from, what was his name? I'm totally blanking on his name. The guy reads my name. He's like, hey, thanks for sponsoring us. We got your check. We need your logo. And that's when I said, oh yeah, my logo. I need to have one of those. So I created a logo. I got cards printed, flew to DC. I was hanging out with Tom because Tom and I were going to be talking together. We were doing a presentation, and I was very proud of my business cards. And I handed Tom one of my cards, and Tom said, why does your business card have the KeyBank logo on it? And I said, it doesn't have the KeyBank logo on it. That's the logo I created. And Tom pulled a debit card out of his wallet, and my business card had the KeyBank logo on it.
Copyright infringement.
Yep. I still have those cards somewhere around this office. I have one of those. And it was like, he was so matter of fact. Why does this have the KeyBank logo on it?
I'm here for 4 times.
Yeah.
Four times.
Yeah. So Raph, so for our listeners that don't know, Raph is the host of, I say, one of the most popular podcasts in InfoSec over the years. Let's
go with that. I like that. Maybe it's true.
10 years.
Raph votes for that description.
All right, the Down the Security Rabbithole podcast.
Yep.
With James Jardine, which
the Dean of Mean. Of course, just kidding. He's gonna kick my butt for saying that.
Did you say the Dean of Mean?
Yeah, remember the wrestler Dean of Mean, Keith Jardine? How's the Dean of Mean, James Jardine?
Wow, it even rhymed.
Me so much for that.
That's amazing.
Sorry, James. I could not resist. And he's like the most non-mean guy you'll ever meet. I'm awful.
He could be. He is awesome. He used to work with me at Secure Ideas, and then he he left and went off and did the other stuff, which is cool. And yeah, he is awesome.
Yeah. So you guys,
you guys are great. You're swell.
I think it's impressive. I mean, you guys have done over 462 episodes.
Yeah.
Of that show. That is incredible. So congratulations.
Thanks, man.
I think that's awesome.
We've had a good run. I mean, it's I feel like we've very rarely done any sort of sponsorship, or I think we tried advertising once in the last 10 years and I hated it. And so it's always been kind of a shoestring budget whenever it's like, okay, whenever we get a chance. Right. And so for early on, it was kind of spotty. I think probably for the last 6 or 7 years, it's been once a week, almost every week. I think I've taken like 1 or 2 weeks off a year weekend, because it's, some holiday. I think I took my birthday off this year, but right now, we've got, we started pre-recording because we've gotten so many interesting guests, and I've got like 7 episodes queued up and ready to go. I don't have to do anything for like 7 weeks. This is great. But we get some interesting. I think my favorite guest ever was, well, I've got a lot of favorite guests, but I think the most interesting situational guest ever was the Right Honorable Baroness Neville Jones, and she was David Cameron's chief of staff, and for cyber, she was his like cyber czar or chief of something like that. And I saw her speak at ISSA International. I started literally just hands in pocket, started walking up to her as she got off stage, took my hand out of my pocket, and almost got shot by a bunch of English equivalent of Secret Service folks, which, that's not a good way to go.
Hey, it's worth it.
It's worth dying for.
I was like, oh, she's one of those people. Okay, I'm just going to pull my hands up really slowly like this. Slow.
That's right.
This is a microphone, and I just like to interview the lady. Please don't kill me. Yeah, so... But it was fun. I mean, this show has become it's so much a part of my life right now. It's weird. Monday nights I'm usually editing a show, and Tuesdays I'm checking in to see its performance. But we get on average over a month, over like 30 days of the show being released, getting close to, depending on how good the guest is, about 2,500 to 5,000 unique downloads. That's pretty cool.
That's good. Really good. Wow. Awesome. Well,
it's been fun.
Here's to your continued success, man.
Yay!
I've always been a fan of the show, and I love your guests. In fact, I wanted to talk about one guest you had on recently,
of course,
Mr. Rob Graham, because the topic, and I don't want to ignite Kevin into a rage mode again.
I don't know what you're talking about,
because this is definitely a topic he would probably rage on.
Let's preface this by saying this is not going to be a political discussion.
But it should be. But okay.
I'm going to preface this with, this is not a political discussion. So Rob was invited to the My Pillow Guys Cybersecurity Summit as one of the it was like one of 2, right? Of like people from outside of.
Yeah, there was like 2 or 3 he said that were from complete outsiders.
This was the one where he announced that all of the CISSPs were going.
Yes, all the experts.
Not Rob didn't announce it. The Pillow Guy announced it.
All the experts.
Yeah. All the experts.
And the ninjas.
Yeah.
And the ninjas. Don't forget the ninjas. The cyber ninjas.
All the ninjas, the pirates, everybody. And so tell us a little bit about, for those listeners that maybe just don't understand what we're talking about. But there was something about PCAPs, which is what this whole thing was about, right?
Yeah. So there was a claim made about election fraud, and I think China logging in and flipping votes. And there was a claim made by Mike, whatever the hell his last name is. We just know him as the Pillow
Lindell.
Guy. Yeah, that guy.
The Pillow Guy. Does he deserve the last name?
No. He doesn't deserve to be named. We just call him the My Pillow Guy. There is genuinely something wrong with that man, because he makes these weird claims. Like he said that he had PCAPs from every single election computer or point, and Rob and I kind of did some back of the napkin math while drinking bourbon when we finally met up after this thing, and it's a lot of, like, how many counties are there? Let's carry that like up a ton. So he's got PCAPs.
So there's 76 in Florida. There's 76 counties in Florida alone, and my understanding is Florida has the highest count of counties or close to in all of the states.
So let's say 70 times 50. That's a lot of places to get PCAPs from. Go ahead.
And there's different locations per county.
Correct.
Like,
yes.
I live in Clay County. Yeah.
So the most interesting part of this is they've interviewed people from some of the places he's claimed to get PCAPs from, wherein they tell you that these systems were not on the internet. So I genuinely, I was very curious how he got PCAPs from systems that were not connected to the internet.
I'm pedantic. We have to be correct. It doesn't matter if they're connected to the internet. If they have a network interface, you can capture a PCAP. Now,
fair enough.
Having said that,
his
claim was they were PCAPs of them communicating with China.
Correct. Right. So that may be the longest distance Wi-Fi connection anybody's ever achieved.
Oh yeah.
Particularly since it was probably from a satellite or something. No. So Rob talked about all the data they got, the data they didn't get, the copious amounts of MyPillow commercials that they were subject to, which odd choice of things. And at the end of the day, what they got was 0% PCAPs, which very, very disappointing to Rob, the PCAP master Graham.
Because they were promised those too, right?
Well, yeah. That may be the most yes, that is the promise that was made. It was going to change everything. And
and I think what's important is this was one, and I made the joke that it should be political. I actually think the exact opposite. This is a topic that should cross every political, I don't care what party you believe in, you should know how important the validity of our election is, right? So out of all of the claims, and we all know Kevin's opinion of the claims, and if we don't, it's ridiculous. But out of all the claims, this is the only one that the Your Pillow guy, because I don't have one of his pillows, it was a specific actionable claim.
Right.
It wasn't this hand-waving, there's fraud. It was, I have network captures of bad
raw
traffic
data
that proves the point. And I'll be blunt. I find it so important, the validity of the election, that if I'd flip my opinion. Great, done. Now let's go deal with that, right? Like, if you have proof of it to that level, produce it. And it was promised to be produced on a specific day, at a specific event, and it wasn't.
Yeah. So
if you're still believing in election fraud, that should tell you you're an idiot.
Well, that may be the least. That may be the least thing that's telling you that. But okay,
I know. But I'm just saying, if you got to that point,
the lawyers that got it thus far are looking at being disbarred. So for I think
I'm loving every minute of it.
Well, I think the judge said something to the effect of for making up things and lying to the court that tends to be looked down and frowned upon. Doesn't be frowned upon in federal court. I'm just saying that's not a good thing to do. But no, so Rob talked about it. Gave a lot of facts, and he talked about his experience on the podcast. It's kind of fun. I mean, it is what it is. If you were expecting stuff, then I mean, I can't help you. But it should put to bed once and for all this claim, but it won't. That's the problem. Is it won't. There's always going to be something. There's
well, and I think part of the problem is that everybody who discusses it speaks about it in absolutes.
Yeah,
the people who are fighting the idiots talk about the fact that there was no fraud, and that is an incorrect statement.
Correct.
Well.
Yeah, you're right.
There's always levels of fraud, and part of the problem. Let's ignore the stupid people, and I'm using that word on purpose because ignorance is excusable and understandable. Stupid is not, and this is stupid at this point. But by claiming there was no fraud, then what happens is somebody can say, well, what about this case where that guy voted in the wrong place? That was fraud. It's like, yeah, that one was fraud, but there wasn't any other fraud. But what about the person who, like, it undermine? We have to stop talking in absolutes. And I know you didn't. I'm saying that.
But that's Kevin,
was fraud.
That's why
wasn't fraud that changed the election.
That's why this is so relevant to the InfoSec discussion. Is it's like saying this is secure. You're like, shut up. There is no such thing. Just stop talking.
And I think you're absolutely right.
Right. So we have to be realistic. We have to recognize that there are errors made. This is a system. Our election system is set. Our entire constitutional republic is set up with the principles that people do good things, right? That we act accordingly and we act in a civil manner, and people do good. There's no one person to overrule anybody, right? There's no king that the buck stops at. Right. But not that somebody hasn't tried, but there is. Sorry, that was for you, Kevin. But there is checks and balances all over the place, and the system works. I mean, look, in order to create the kind of systemic fraud we're talking about digitally here, it's not impossible, because we all thought like, oh, this is verified software, and then like SolarWinds happened, and we went, oh, right, verified software installed everywhere because nobody. I mean, so it's not like it's impossible, but you look at data and you go, look, there's a possibility. Yes. Is it probable? No. Are the claims on this side being made? Are they reasonable? They do not pass the reasonable third party test, but you can't say there was nothing wrong with it. It was perfect. It was ideal. There was not a single drop of rain anywhere in the country, and nobody was unhappy. Like, stop it.
Yep.
Are you looking for the very best products to protect your digital privacy? Well, Silent Pocket has everything you need with their patented product line of high-quality Faraday bags, backpacks, clutches, and wallets. Visit silentpocket.com today and receive 10% off your order by using discount code SHAREDSECURITY.
You want your organization to be secure and compliant, and to have a healthy culture. But your employees' lack of awareness makes you vulnerable to data theft, fraud, and compliance penalties. It's frustrating that the boring, static training content that's being used today has failed to improve employees' ability to defend against cyber attacks. At ClickArmor, we know that without using gamification, it's extremely hard to get staff to understand how to avoid threats. Our gamified simulations and challenges have provided a 50% average improvement in thousands of employees' ability to spot phishing threats. Go to clickarmor.ca/sharedsecurity to get your free gamified phishing assessment for up to 500 employees. You'll see quickly how gamified simulations can help your team be more resilient and compliant, and help avoid costly ransomware and fraud incidents. Let ClickArmor help you go from being an underappreciated, stressed out fall guy to being an innovative leader who's the catalyst for greater productivity in your organization.
Well, in my opinion, we have been down this path since 2000.
Fair.
And when people started suing over the election, and as far as I know, the 2000 election was the first election that had widespread lawsuits about the results, right? I'm not saying there weren't lawsuits before that, but the 2000 election, and I don't care who you voted for or who you wanted to win, or I'm not arguing a side, right? I am the person that probably would have voted for Trump the first time, right? I have no problem acknowledging my conservativeness would have led me down that path, right? It didn't. I voted for a libertarian candidate. But we have started to go down this path where when our side doesn't win, we complain and we sue, whatever our side is. And I said in 2000, when people started doing it and saying this has to be a lawsuit and everything else, it's like, okay, but here's the problem. The next election, the other side is going to come after you, right? Like it's this constant thing. I mean, we can take it down to anything. And in my opinion, this is absolutely relevant, like you said, to InfoSec, because we have the exact same issue with everything we recommend and we talk about, and we recommend something. I mean, we can argue about SMS two-factor if you would like to, right? We make claims and say, we're the experts, this is what we have to do. And then when people examine our expertise, when we've made those absolute claims, it undermines anything else we say.
Well, and so there's three things that I think apply to InfoSec, Kevin. You've got most of them. One is tribalism. We need to get over that, right? Tribalism in politics is killing politics and civility, and it's taking us down a very dark path. Tribalism in InfoSec in our community is taking us the exact same route, right? You get this same like, oh, I don't care if you're smart, but you're with them, or I don't like. Why do my politics matter in or my personal belief or my religious beliefs, or whether I think the earth is flat or round, because that might
that last one does matter.
that last one might matter.
Because that's an IQ test.
You're right. That's all I'm saying is I've never seen the entire sphere, so can
we disconnect him?
Wait. but you've got tribalism, and that's a problem, because that discourages that discredits ideas based on which group you belong to, and that's stupid, right?
And discourages people from joining.
And correct, right? Those of us that just don't want the infighting, just be like, I just don't want. Like, there's a reason why a lot of us our age guys disconnected from the community at large for such a while, is because we just didn't want to deal with the constant bombs flying across. We just want to get the job done, right? So that's a problem. Absolutism is a categorical fail across the board. Like, nobody wants that. It's a terrible idea.
Absolutism is always wrong.
It's always a bad idea. And what's that's a very interesting statement. But it's you look at some of the claims that have been made. Whether you're looking at marketing for an endpoint product that says protects against all known and unknown. Shut up, right? This is 100% score. Shut up. Like, just I can break into anything. This can't be broken into. Like, both of those claims are dumb and stop.
Yeah.
My favorite marketing thing. Do you remember? I don't remember what company it was. They gave out T-shirts that said "negative day protection," and I wish I had one of these T-shirts, because I will tell you right now, without fail, my understanding of the definition of 0 day is a vulnerability exists. There's no patch. Math tells me that means a negative day would be the vulnerability doesn't exist. And I guarantee you, I can protect you against all vulnerabilities that don't exist. I have an agentless blockchain AI solution that will prevent all vulnerabilities.
Listen, someone is a VC listening to this going, how much money does he want?
How much money does he want? Money just fell out of the ceiling. It's amazing, right?
There's a truck heading your way with suitcases full of duffel bags full of VC's money.
Oh my God.
I guarantee you'll never be hacked by the vulnerability that doesn't exist. And I protected you from it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, so tribalism, absolutism, and then perhaps this what?
That was a cough. Sorry.
Oh, I thought you were inserting some witty comment. No, but the other thing I think is the inability to have a conversation. This is if you guys remember back, gosh, when we were youngsters, and we were completely guilty of this. I'll raise my hand and say it. I just learned past it. Is that we would like, all those stupid business people don't know anything. They just need to do this and listen to me. And they'd look at us and go, the hell are they talking about? They don't understand anything about how business works. And both were correct. Yes. We just never took that. Like, over the last 10 years, we've decided that we are going to, start to drift towards the middle a little bit. But talking past each other is it's killing so much of our ability to move forward as an organization, as a community, and so I think what we're seeing in politics mirrors a lot of what's happening in society, and what's happening in society obviously influences what happens in our community. Our community just happens to be an atypical bunch of people that have stronger opinions than most, don't like other people, and are extremely smart. So, and you put that together and you get some very, very interesting and dynamic personalities and exhibitions of thought. So That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
I was with you up until extremely smart, because I don't think I fall into that, but okay. And
Listen, I'm just trying to give you some credit.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I think you're right. I think you've got some good points. I think that the tribalism one I don't like. I agree with you that tribalism and gatekeeping is a problem. I do think, though, there is an aspect, and this goes back to the absolutism, I think. There is an aspect of there are reasons not to listen to people, right? And I am a rabid First Amendment supporter. I believe that you absolutely have the right to say whatever crap you want to say, or goodness that you want to say. But I do believe that it is okay to... I'm trying to figure out a polite way to put it without naming somebody and saying, well, nobody listened to that person, right? But I am hard-pressed to think that it is worthwhile to listen to Kevin Mitnick when he expounds on any topic. Because here is a person who broke the law, and we can discuss whether he was a hacker, a social engineer, the world's best. I don't care, right? I really don't. I'll throw Gregory Evans, who you mentioned in your podcast with Rob, and I giggled quite a bit with that one, too. Right? I think it is reasonable for me to say, you know what? Kevin Mitnick has proven time and time again that he is in the business to make himself money and not make anybody else better, right? He doesn't care about to make other people better. So I think it's okay, in my opinion, to say, I'm not going to listen to anything the man says. And anybody else who says to me, here is what Kevin said, and you should be listening to it because Kevin Mitnick's a genius, I can immediately disregard what they say, because
transitive property.
See what I'm saying? And so I agree with the idea that there are people. What was the guy's name? He was really popular in InfoSec, and then it came out that he was sexually assaulting people. Applebaum.
Which one?
Oh, yeah, no. Which
There's
one?
There's been several of those.
Right.
Pay attention to Twitter.
I'm okay with somebody doing something that I find so disgusting. I'm not okay with them doing it. I'm okay with me saying anybody who supports them, I don't want to deal with. I'm okay with that. If you come out and you start comparing vaccine requirements to being the Holocaust, I'm okay immediately disregarding everything you say.
Yeah, that's fair.
I understand, though, that then becomes the ability for somebody to dogpile on somebody, right? It's very easy on Twitter to say, Tom Eston said this thing and it was atrocious and horrible and everybody should report him. And that starts to become a problem. It becomes way too easy to turn into swatting and doxing. And so I don't know where the line is. But I am okay with disregarding people because of who they hang out with.
Yeah, look, the guilty by association thing, and it's not even that. It's guilty by support, like outright supporting. And I'm with you, man. Like between, I think the Mike Pillow guy, Greg Evans, and Kevin are all probably the same class human. Anything for a buck.
Can we please specify Mitnick?
Is it charlatans? Is that the?
Yeah, I think that's the word, right? I think that's how we, and that word has been thrown around, but
I don't think charlatans is the right word.
No? Okay.
No, I don't think it is. And the reason I say I don't think it is, one, I love attrition.org charlatan.
Yes, I was talking about attrition.
I'm very upset and happy that the latest edition was added. But I think that charlatan implies that everything this person says is fake or wrong or a lie or whatever. And let's jump back to my example of Kevin Mitnick. There are times you can listen to Kevin Mitnick and the things he's talking about are accurate. It's the rest of him is a scumbagness. So I don't want there is no reason for me to pick pearls from this swine, right? Because I can get those pearls from better people.
Yeah, fair enough.
And so charlatan, maybe it's the right word, but worthless, fair enough, I think is the word I like. But that's me.
Do you know why he's really mad, though? He's mad because people will say you would look like Kevin Mitnick.
That doesn't make me mad at all. You can say I look like Kevin Mitnick all you want, because I love the fact that I have signed at least 100 of his books. I don't know what it is. I've signed a ton of his books because, Raph, you may not know this, but a lot of people have told me I look like him. I don't see it, but I know it's true from a perspective of
somebody
regularly
said so.
People will bring me a copy of his book and ask me to sign it.
Nice.
And so I do, but I sign it Kevin Johnson. So
yeah.
That's
fantastic.
I think there has to be a level of, maybe we just need to go the Amish way and shun these people, right? Like, I don't mean get rid of technology. I just mean shun. But I don't know I'm not smart enough to know how to balance that out.
We need to microsegment them out of the industry.
Yes, we will have a twatter, and they get to tweet over there.
Maybe a different name, Kevin.
Maybe. I like that name. I think I will be honest. As it came out of my mouth, I realized what vowel I had added, and that was totally by accident.
What YouTube algorithm are you going to kick off now?
Yeah, suddenly we're all going to get hate mail. Good job, dude.
I changed one letter. That was totally. I know nobody will believe me. That was by accident.
Oh, the explicit tag just got added.
Damn it!
And now it's explicit.
That wasn't what I meant. I guess
maybe we should just move on, because this is going.
Yeah.
Let's go, pilot. We are going down.
It was just a vowel.
Well, since we do like to keep this show, about 15, 20 minutes, it's probably a good time to end this one before we go down the rabbit hole. No pun intended, Raph. Any further.
yeah, that doesn't end well.
But
how did I sign up for the one episode that is going to be turning into this? Good job, man. Thanks.
Let's be very clear, Raph. This is not the one episode that turned into. I am the cause of many an explicit tag.
All right, we're going to continue this over on the DTSR podcast. This is way too much fun.
Yeah, we should do that.
We're gonna have a great old time.
That would be awesome. We'll cross the streams.
Boy.
Yeah. Just like the Security Justice days. Yeah.
So
Raph remembers those.
Before, hey, I was on Security Justice. What was the other one? NEO ISF had a podcast. Yeah. You guys had one. I remember you guys
Secure a bit.
Secure that too. Which is the one that we recorded from that bar?
That was Security Justice.
Security Justice.
Yeah, that was Security Justice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The good old days.
You go way back, man. Oh yeah.
I recently posted, because it came up on my Google Photos as a reminder, and then Facebook reminded me as well. The photo of, it was like me, Kennedy, you sitting there, and Dave's doing awkward things with a banana.
Yeah. Or Dave was like licking our ear or something.
Yeah, that too.
Which is typical Dave.
Oh, Dave.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Just a little plug for you, Raph. Where can our listeners go to find out more about your podcast and you and what you've been up to?
Well, so I'm White Rabbit on Twitter, WH1T3 RABBIT. DT. What's that? I'm Leet. Yeah. Listen, I picked that one up a long time ago, and that was cool to do. I think it still might be. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are kids doing these days? On the podcast has its own Twitter handle at DTSR_podcast, down the security rabbit hole on LinkedIn, and it's ftwr.libsyn.com. Follow the White Rabbit, ftwr.libsyn.com. You can RSS there, and or you can get it on iTunes or Stitcher,
wherever you listen to podcasts.
Pretty much everywhere you can find a podcast. And so love to have you guys. Love to have your listeners aboard. And we're coming up on 2 milestones, 10 years on September. In 2 weeks will be 10 years, and episode 500, which will be, I think, May or June next year, depending on if I take my birthday off again. So
wow, nice.
That's
awesome.
500, for crying out loud. That's a lot of airtime together.
A lot of podcasts.
That's a lot of episodes. Good times, guys.
Cool,
good
man.
times.
Well, thanks for coming on, Raph. Much appreciate having you, and we'll talk to you all next week. That's all for this week's show. Be sure to follow the Shared Security Show on Twitter and Instagram for the latest news and show updates. If you like this episode, please hit that like and subscribe button, and please subscribe to us on your favorite podcast listening app. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week for another episode of the Shared Security Show.